Welcome to the Subconscious Mind Mastery Podcast. Thomas Miller, thank you so much for joining us. Got a special episode for you here. Caroline Horne has been on here several times. We first introduced her back in 2020 when she was just starting her Akashic Records practice, and she's been reading for a number of you have consulted her over the years since she began and have had great readings with her. So I wanted to bring Caroline back and do something a little bit different here. And what I had in mind was to ask her if she would connect with the Akashic Records in the way that she does, but not for an individual, rather for the collective. And what came from this is more than impressive. This was a multi-part interview, so we're just going to do this in sections, but this is the first part of my interview with Caroline, where the main message came through. If you've been wondering how you and I should be responding to these events that are unfolding in our world right now, there is a wonderfully beautiful answer from Spirit.
I go through the process of saying the opening prayer to open the Akashic Records. And I just always do that as a process. I do my meditation as the process. I do a protection and grounding visualization as a process. But I always feel like there's a connection between me and my guides or the records. I'm always getting messages all the time. So it's almost like it's just part of the process. But I feel like before I go into a reading, I'm hearing and feeling messages and sensing things, and it's always applicable. And once I open the records, the messages are the same, and I pull cards, and the cards confirm all the messages I was getting earlier on, prior to even starting my preparation. So the messages that I've been hearing have been confirmed by the cards that I ended up pulling for today's reading. And what I've just been sensing, when we think about wars and devastation and destitution that people are experiencing and famine and just the unfathomable hardships that really we cannot fathom until we're in them, I guess, they're happening all the time. And so what we really need to, and what I've been hearing is, yes, feel concern for those that are going through hardships and feel empathy or sympathy for those who are going through hard times, going through experiencing famine, experiencing hunger, experiencing war, experiencing ill health, or sitting in a hospital. Of course, we want to feel empathy or sympathy for them. But what we should not and cannot do is lower our vibration to a place of grief, worry, stress. When we are lowering our vibration, we are feeding the exact energy that wants to be fed. Versus if you say, I'm going to pray for these people, I'm going to pray for their peace, I'm going to pray that this war ends, I'm going to pray for someone's health. But then you have to go on and continue living in a life of abundance and joy and happiness and continuing to keep your vibration high so that you are not feeding the low energy, the negative energy that's wanting to take your energy. They're wanting to pull you down. So it can feel like you're being selfish or self-absorbed when you're going out having a good time, knowing that there is a horrific war going on in Ukraine and Israel and Palestine. And there's just a lot happening everywhere. People are sick. People are hungry everywhere. But why are we being fed a specific amount of information about a specific thing and nonstop? And there's energy that's wanting to pull you down into it. And so what the message is stay above that energy, stay in a place of love, continue sending love, send love out to those that are innocent, and send love out to those that are the perpetrators. Just send love out. That's actually how we overcome this. And I know Martin Luther King Jr., I apologize, has a famous saying is, We can't stamp out hate with hate. We can't stamp out fear and anger with fear and anger. You can only overcome hate with love. And that it still rings true. And I'm being told to like tell you about the cards because I mentioned that I pulled cards for this reading. Because everybody's like wants to know, why is this happening? I feel like we all kind of know we've been Thomas has been talking about it. The stars have been telling us there is a great reset happening. And so the very first card that was pulled out was a card called the Crumbling. And it literally talks about crumbling things that no longer serve us, bringing up to the light the things that and structures that are not built on solid foundations. But we have to acknowledge that they're not solid foundations, that it's not a solid structure. And the way to acknowledge that this is not a solid structure is by breaking it down so that we can build it up to a better world, a better structure that works for everyone or more people. Because right now, how the world is functioning, it's not working for very many people. And we know this, we're all experiencing as we all go through these hardships. So in order to build up from a solid foundation, we kind of have to break down those structures. And it can feel really scary thinking, what, the world's crumbling? I just keep hearing like, fear not, like, don't fear this. Just like, what was it? The dark age, from the dark ages came the Renaissance. And when you think about those passing from one era to the next, you don't look at it going, wow, that must have been a really scary time. It was what it was. And you passed on and we moved into something better. And the next card that was brought up was Keepers of the Earth. And this is just saying that you're not here alone. And I think not only are we not here alone in that we have beings around us, we have beings in the other dimensions that are around us, supporting us and protecting us, but we also have each other, and we are able to utilize things like podcasts and social media to continue to uplift each other and uplift the vibration. I think we all saw how social media could amplify vitriol. And I think we all got really sick of watching and listening and participating. And it was almost like we needed that to make the shift happen over into, I don't want to hear any more arguments about politics. I don't want to hear any more arguments or fight about this particular issue and that particular issue. I just want what comes across my screen to lift me up. I don't want any, like, we all got sick of it. And really, the pandemic allowed us to slow down and say, whoa, that was making me sick. That is making me sick. I want to shift what I'm seeing. And we all started shifting our algorithms and choosing to look at things that were more light, more loving, more good news, more high vibrational stuff, more positive messages. And more podcasts started coming out with positive messaging around spirituality, about lifting one's vibration, about how to manifest, how to bring on more abundance. Like, all of that is high vibrational stuff, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. But with the duality of Earth, what kind of happens is when you have the high vibrational stuff growing, kind of those darker energies, they're like, whoa, 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 we need to match. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing. But eventually, love will always overtake the low vibrations, because that is our natural essence. That is what our natural way of being is. Our souls are love. So we just keep being the light, keep sharing the light, keep elevating our vibration and keeping it high, sending out love. That's another one of the cards that came up. The next one was Dance with Life. And it just is reminding you, like, If you're not in the thick of it, dance. Keep your vibration high. Whatever it is that keeps you in a good high vibrational flow, whatever keeps you in the flow, whatever keeps you connected to your source. Maybe it's praying, maybe it's hiking, maybe it's dancing, maybe it's singing, maybe it's painting or sewing. Whatever keeps you in your highest vibration, keep doing that. Stay in your highest vibration. Because we are coming into the age of life, and that is the last card here. There is another card. It just says the great gathering, and that it's all coming together. And I think that's all part of it. That's part of what I was talking about, like the gathering. We're all these high vibrational podcasts and high vibrational Instagram pages, and people becoming more in tune with like astrology and finding the love in the world versus constantly focusing on the anger and the hate and the destitution and the trauma. Kind of have to see it and get too much of it to say, I'm done with it. I'm going to the loving side. I'm going to the light. I can't handle this darkness anymore. Kind of like hitting your rock bottom. And I think a lot of us hit our energetic rock bottom in 2020 and said, that's it. I'm shifting my energy. I'm going towards love. I'm going towards light. I'm going towards higher vibration. I can't handle this anymore. And there's a lot more of us out there. Again, this great gathering of people. There's a lot more of us out there than we all think. It's funny when I do Akashic readings for individuals, they're like, I don't have anybody around me who's into this kind of stuff. I have a very small tribe. I'm like, no, they're out there. Everybody's just hiding because they think they're the only ones in their community that think like this. But we're gathering, we're coming together, we're utilizing things like the StreamYard that Thomas does on Sundays, where we gather and we're meeting people, and have our Facebook groups, and we have our Instagram groups, and we have our Zoom groups. And so the message is just fear not, send love, and keep your vibration high. When you are in a place where you are feeling joy, don't feel guilty for feeling joy. Don't feel guilty for feeling happiness. That is what is needed to push out the darkness.
You ended there by saying, don't feel guilty. That was the note that I had put in here, because it's so easy to, see these images and see the heartache that these people are going through, and seeing people sitting on top of literally a pile of rock rubble that used to be their home, and not have a thought that says, why me here, and why not, and you feel a little guilty in some ways. And that's in fact, guilt is one of the lowest emotions.
But when you say, why me? Why not me? Why isn't that happening? Why is that happening to them? And why isn't it happening to me? Why am I so lucky? Because your job is to stay high vibe for them. Your job is to not go down to the guilty. You have a job in that situation. Your job is not to feel anger, not to feel stress, not to feel worry. Your job is to send love. Your job is to stay in a high vibrational place. So they're going through their thing, and if you are feeling all these negative emotions, you're just feeding what is causing that. So instead of feeding what's causing that, why don't we push away what's causing that? Do what you can from where you are, and what you can do is send love, stay in a place of joy and happiness, and do things that make you feel good, and do things that make other people feel good. If you want to do something for others, whether it's sending donations, you send donations. You want to pray, you want to pray for them. You want to send Reiki. All of these little things change the energy. We are energetic beings. We are living on an energetic rock, hurling through an energetic universe. And what you are putting out is what you're putting out. So if you're sad, if you're stressed, if you're worried, if you're feeling empathetic for somebody who's going through horrible tragedy and you're feeling that for them, you're contributing to the lower vibration. It's okay to feel concern and have worry for them, but you cannot carry it with you day in and day out. You have to go out and put the positive energy out to change anything.
And Caroline does these Akashic Records readings. Her information contact is in the readings tab of the funastrology.com website in the shop area. There's a whole readings tab there, and she is in that section if you'd like to book a reading with her. Thank you so much for listening. We will have other parts of this interview released in upcoming days. Caroline, thank you for this great connection with exactly what we should be doing to be on our highest timeline. I'm Thomas Miller, along with Caroline Horne. Enjoy the journey. Thanks for listening.